So, you've got a good 7 hours of sleep, you feel refreshed in the morning, but suddenly you're hit by this massive wall of fatigue and exhaustion. Why is that? Well, if your body's well rested, but you still feel exhausted, that's a clear sign of mental exhaustion. Today we're going to go through the main causes of mental exhaustion, but more importantly, how you can reverse these. One of the biggest drains of mental energy is making small decisions. Decisions like, what should I eat for breakfast? What should I wear? Should I do this assignment now or save it for later? Should I check my emails? Those tiny trivial things that feel like they don't mean very much. But the thing is, each one of these decisions costs a tiny bit of mental energy. And when you're making hundreds, if not thousands of these decisions, they build up and they burden your brain. Psychologists call this decision fatigue, and this is why by, say, come lunchtime, your brain already feels like it's made its way through the entire day of work, even though you may not have even got to the bulk of your work yet. Decision fatigue is one of the reasons that many successful people often stick to routines. It's not because they're boring or they like every day to be monotone, but it's because this saves precious mental energy on decisions that actually matter. So ways you can combat this is by adding some predictable elements into your day. For example, meal prepping your breakfast the night before so you can just open the fridge, eat it and leave rather than debating what to have. Things like laying out your clothes the night before so that in the morning you can just put them on and be ready. Small actions like this may not feel like they mean very much, but every decision you can spare your brain from having to make means a tiny bit of mental energy which you can spend on something more worthwhile. If every single part of your day requires making a decision as to what to do next, your brain never gets a break, and this is a huge drain of your mental energy. Try this out, and you'll find that come midday, your brain is clearer and your thoughts are less foggy. Secondly, modern day society has meant that your brain never gets a break during the day. For example, if you're waiting in a supermarket queue, you'll whip out your phone, you'll scroll on TikTok, you'll respond to messages, or you're walking somewhere and you'll have to put your AirPods in and listen to some music or a podcast. Every single moment of the day is filled with something because we've become so uncomfortable with silence. This means your neurons are constantly firing, communicating with each other, trying to make sense of all the information you're relentlessly pumping into your brain. But the thing is, your brain needs quiet moments to process information. Your brain is like a computer, and these quiet moments are moments where you're closing tabs. When you're constantly overloading your brain with new information and stimulation, it's just like opening more tabs, and eventually your brain will get to a point where there are so many tabs open that the entire system goes into overdrive. Everything starts slowing down as a result. And so to combat this, try and introduce some quiet into your day. If you're walking somewhere, just try and walk there without AirPods in, and instead appreciate the natural sounds of your environment. Or if you're waiting in a queue, look around, look at people's faces, take in everything that's happening around you rather than just staring straight down at your phone again. If you do this, your brain will thank you and you'll find that you've got more mental energy and these feelings of fatigue should subside. But a key culprit is what you do at the end of your day, even after this chaos jam-packed day. After this chaos jam-packed day, it's understandable your brain needs time to recover, but many people aren't giving their brain this time. Many people think that recovery just means doing nothing, but actually there's a huge difference between rest and recovery. For example, scrolling for an hour after work may feel like rest. You may feel like you're giving your brain a chance to recover. It feels relaxing, you're in a relaxed state, and you may feel it's a good way to let yourself unwind and give yourself some well-earned downtime. But actually, if you think about it, when you're scrolling, your brain is still processing hundreds and thousands of images, of colours, of text, emotions and stories, and as a result, your neurons are still firing, maybe even more than during the day, just to try and make sense of this new information. After the end of a long day, you're overloading your brain with even more stimulation, which it's tried to get away from, and passing this off as recovery. I'm sure you can see how this doesn't make sense. Using social media is consumption, not recovery. Instead, you need to be introducing real recovery into your day to let your brain recover from everything that it's seen during the day. Things that promote healthy brain recovery and are real ways to relax and unwind include going for a walk in nature, getting some exercise in, or even reading a book. Creativity can also help your brain thrive, and so why not try your hand at some painting or something crafty? for example, scrapbooking or journaling. Personally, I found journaling is one of the best ways to unwind, as you're actively unloading information in your head, which is so rare these days. You're converting all these messy thoughts and feelings into physical words on paper, and I find that really good. At first, these will feel boring because you're used to the constant stimulation that is social media. But if you manage to push through this wall of boredom and persevere and convince yourself that your brain needs you more than ever now, you'll actually find that these are more enjoyable, and these will release real dopamine into your brain rather than the artificial one that you're so used to. So how about try these out today and see what that does for your brain? You may find that your thoughts are clearer, that your memory works better, and that you're more receptive to conversation and the slow life. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.